Hello, everyone. This is attorney Maria Baler from the law firm of Samuel, Sayward, and Baler, located in Dedham, Massachusetts, where we focus our practice in the areas of estate planning, elder law, and estate and trust administration. Welcome to this week's edition of Smart Counsel for Lunch. As you may know or may have heard, May is Elder Law Month, which is a month that we dedicate to educating the public about elder law matters and how they can be better informed. So today I want to talk to you about something related to Medicaid. Medicaid, as you may know, is the federal and state program that provides benefits that pay for long-term care. Long-term care in the community sometimes, and often long-term care in a nursing home. Medicaid is very different than Medicare. Some people get those two things confused. Medicare is the program that everyone is eligible for when they turn 65 that will pay for doctor's visits and hospitalizations to some extent, but not for long-term care. So Medicaid is the program devoted exclusively to long-term care. The difference between Medicare and Medicaid is that Medicaid is a needs-based program. So not everybody is eligible for Medicaid. You have to become eligible or prove that you are eligible before you can receive those benefits. To receive Medicaid, you have to be both medically eligible, clinically eligible, so you have to really need a certain level of care, and you also need to be financially eligible. Long-term care, as everyone knows, is very expensive. So the government wants to be sure that the people who are receiving the Medicaid dollars are those who, truly need it. And there is a lot of work done in the elder law world for people to help plan to become eligible for Medicaid, especially if people have limited assets and maybe only a home and very few other assets, and they want to make sure that when the time comes, they can apply for and become eligible for Medicaid if they need that type of care. The Medicaid rules are very complex. They change from time to time. And there's lots of ins and outs. There are assets that you might own that might not be countable towards your Medicaid eligibility. There are other assets you own that are countable and would need to be spent on your care before you're eligible to receive Medicaid benefits. If you are married and have a spouse in the community who does not need care, there are certain rules around protections for the spouse, a certain amount of assets the spouse can keep, and a certain amount of income the spouse is entitled to have to make sure they can take care of themselves. If you're a single person, those rules are much more limited, and as a single person, you can only own $2,000 of countable assets and keep about $70 or $80 a month of your own income. Everything else needs to be paid to the nursing home to pay for care. So as you can see, there's lots of nuances depending on your situation. When you need Medicaid benefits, you need to file an application for those benefits. And that application is very long and asks a lot of questions. It's really crucial how you answer those questions and also how you've positioned yourself and your assets and make sure basically you have all your ducks in a row before you file that application. If you don't, you'll be denied, and it might be hard, even through an appeal process, to become eligible, even if you were, but just didn't have things in order before you applied. All of this is to say that you need someone who's qualified to work with you to complete and file that Medicaid application and be there to respond to any questions the Medicaid agency may have, or to do an appeal for you if that's necessary if you get a denial. Our office does not prepare Medicaid applications, so this is not a pitch for that, but we do know many qualified attorneys who do. So if you or a family member find yourselves in need of applying for Medicaid benefits, please give us a call. We're happy to help you find someone who can prepare that application for you and give you advice. There's lots of advice that's related to the Medicaid application process, including things you might need to do before you apply. Spending down assets, prepaying funeral, prepaying certain bills or not paying others. There's a lot of planning that can be done. moving assets between spouses, purchasing annuities to protect assets. Depending on your situation, it may be possible to protect more assets than you think, even if you've done no long-term care planning in advance. But the advice you get immediately before you apply for those benefits is really crucial. Nursing homes have generally free services they will offer to families who are entering the nursing home that will prepare a Medicaid application on their behalf for free. Sounds like a great deal, right? But no, we want to caution you against that. The people who prepare Medicaid applications for the nursing homes for free are generally paid by the nursing home. They have the nursing home's best interest at heart. And the nursing home's interest is to get paid as quickly as possible, right? They're not really concerned with you protecting assets for your family or for your spouse who might be in the community. So you might not, and you generally will not, get the same kind of quality advice from a free Medicaid application preparation service than you will for an attorney who's working for you and preparing that application with your best interests in mind. Many of those people are not even attorneys who prepare those applications, and they're certainly not your advocate. So take all that into consideration if you or a family member needs nursing home care and needs to apply for Medicaid benefits, and make sure you're getting the right advice before you do that. So happy Elder Law Month. I hope this has been informative, and even if you don't need this information now, store it in the back of your mind and remember it if and when the issue arises. If we can be of assistance, like I said, please give us a call. Otherwise, we'll see you next week at this time. Thanks for watching.